Insight is just recognizing a pattern that was invisible to them before. It's recognizing the elusive obvious. Insight always feels obvious after the fact. Finally, we've got pattern recognition. That's a weird sort of thing to include as an attribute, isn't it? What do you think I'm talking about here?
Well, I think the pattern recognition skill is what allows me and us as coaches to have the awareness of the outdated models that once were helpful, but
exactly.
now need some revamping and revising. Yeah?
Right. You'll notice the more you do it, and Richard, you'll know this, and actually you know this from psychotherapy work, right? You know that clients come in themes, right? You know, when a client says a certain thing in a certain way, you've seen this 100 times before, and though you can't say exactly what they'll say next, you got a pretty good idea. You could script out the next 10 minutes of conversation with reasonable accuracy because clients act in patterns, right? The same with life coaching. You've seen people maybe complain about their careers, and you know, all right, there's 1 of 5 things that's gone wrong here. Let's check these out, right? Because 99% of the time, it's one of those 5 things. Maybe once in a blue moon, it's something you never heard of, right? But most often, it's the same thing. And this is tremendous. Why? Because this is now where your clients will teach you to be a better life coach. The more people you work with, right? The more patterns you're exposed to, the more you'll recognize those patterns in other clients, even when they're really well disguised, and the more they won't fool you, right? So pattern recognition is being able to see clearly, is see the consequences that will emerge from something. And by seeing that clearly yourself, you can then help your clients develop what's called insight. And what's insight? Insight is just recognizing a pattern that was invisible to them before. It's recognizing the elusive obvious, right? Insight always feels obvious after the fact, right? But before the fact, it's just, you can spell it out to them 10 different ways and they just won't get it until the insight makes it, oh, what did you say that? I get it now, right?
Yeah.
But that's because, go ahead.
That'd be their idea. Then suddenly it's like,
yes.
Yeah.
So you're recognizing patterns, so you know which way to go with the client. And then you're going to encourage them to recognize their own patterns so that they no longer get trapped in them. So they have choice. If you're trapped in a pattern, you can only react, however the pattern has programmed you. If you can see the pattern and understand the nature of the trap, you now have the ability to respond instead of react, to choose your reaction, as opposed to being pre-programmed with an out-of-box reaction that may no longer be serving you. So this is a tremendously valuable skill. You'll get this really from the more people you do this with, the more pattern recognition will become just a no-brainer. And the value of having questioning sets like the ones in the coaching deck is, especially when we get into your 4 big categories: relationships, health, wealth, and career. Those 4 areas will be having the same pattern of questions, but which go taking seemingly very different directions. That will ingrain patterns, and you'll see patterns more clearly because you are using patterns in your investigation process. Does that kind of make sense to you?
Yep.
And then all these personality profiling tools, from Myers-Briggs to whatever you like to use, as valuable as they can be, as useful as they can be, you won't need them because you'll be a walking pattern recognition mechanism. So you can see the patterns as they emerge spontaneously. You don't need an artificial tool to guide you anymore. Does that kind of make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
If you found this insightful, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating discussions on the power of the mind and hypnosis.